For centuries, people whispered of a hidden formula that could turn lead into gold. They called it the Philosopher's Stone, and the men who chased it gave their entire lives to the search. Some of them lost their minds, some of them lost everything. But a few of them, without ever knowing it, changed the world. Picture a dimly lit room somewhere in medieval Europe. The air is thick with smoke. Glass vessels bubble over open flames. A man in a dark robe leans over a cracked notebook, scribbling symbols no one else is allowed to read. He believes he is weeks away from the greatest discovery in human history. He has believed that for 30 years. What drove him? What drives anyone to chase the impossible? And what happens when the impossible turns out to be real? Just not in the way anyone expected. This is the story of alchemy, a story of obsession, deception, and one of the most surprising scientific accidents ever made. The idea that metals could be transformed was not born in medieval Europe. It is far older than that. Ancient Egyptians believed gold was the flesh of the gods. It did not rust. It did not tarnish. It lasted forever. To them, that made it divine. And if gold was divine, then surely it could be created. If only you understood the secret language of the universe. In ancient China, Taoist alchemists were not chasing gold for wealth. They were chasing immortality. They believed that if you could craft gold artificially, a perfect, incorruptible substance, consuming it would grant you the same perfection, the same eternal life. Texts from the Han Dynasty, dating back over 2,000 years, describe elaborate recipes involving mercury, sulfur, and lead, all aimed at producing an elixir that would stop death itself. Many alchemists poisoned themselves following these instructions. They died chasing eternal life. In the Islamic Golden Age, a scholar named Jabir ibn Hayyan, known in Europe as Geber, became one of the most influential alchemists who ever lived. He wrote hundreds of texts describing experiments with acids, metals, and chemical reactions. He was methodical, he was careful, he kept records, and while he never succeeded in making gold, he discovered how to purify substances, how to crystallize compounds, and how to work with materials in ways no one had attempted before. He was doing something new without having a name for it yet. By the time alchemy spread through medieval Europe, the Philosopher's Stone had become legend. Not just a tool for making gold, but a substance believed to cure all disease, extend life indefinitely, and unlock the hidden order of creation. Rulers funded alchemists. Kings kept them in their courts. Some alchemists grew rich from patrons desperate to fund the next breakthrough. Others were imprisoned when they failed to deliver. So why did none of them succeed? The answer lies in chemistry. The very science alchemy accidentally created. Gold is element 79. That number, 79, is not a description of gold. It is gold. It means the nucleus of every gold atom contains exactly 79 protons. Lead has 82. You cannot rearrange the protons of an atom by heating it, mixing it, or dissolving it in acid. Chemical reactions only involve electrons, the outer shell of an atom. The nucleus is untouchable by chemistry. The alchemists were operating at entirely the wrong scale. They were trying to rewrite a book by rearranging the ink on the cover. To actually turn lead into gold, you would need to strip 3 protons from a lead nucleus. That requires nuclear physics, and it has actually been done. In 1980, Glenn Seaborg, a Nobel Prize-winning nuclear chemist, used a particle accelerator at the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory to briefly transmute a tiny quantity of bismuth into gold. The process worked. It also cost vastly more than the gold it produced. The amount created was so small, it could not be seen with the naked eye. To make even 1 gram of gold this way would require more energy than most countries produce in a year. The alchemists were not wrong to believe transmutation was possible. They were just a few centuries early, and a few million electron volts short. But here is what they left behind. In the course of their obsessive, centuries-long search for the impossible, alchemists made discoveries that changed everything. They isolated acids that had never been described before. Jabir ibn Hayyan is credited with identifying sulfuric acid, hydrochloric acid, and nitric acid, substances that would become foundational to industrial chemistry. They developed distillation techniques refined enough to purify alcohol and essential oils. They discovered phosphorus. They accidentally invented gunpowder. They built the first systematic laboratory equipment: the alembic still, the crucible, the water bath. These tools did not disappear when alchemy died. They became the equipment of chemistry. Robert Boyle, writing in 1661 in his landmark work, The Skeptical Chemist, drew a hard line between what alchemists believed and what could be proven by experiment. He did not abandon the alchemist's laboratory. He kept the tools and threw out the mysticism. In doing so, he helped launch modern chemistry as a discipline. The very word chemistry comes from the Arabic alchemia, which is itself derived from alchemy. The alchemists were the first people in human history to ask systematic questions about what matter is made of and how it changes. They were wrong about the answers, but they were asking the right questions. And the obsession never really went away. It just changed form. Today, there are people sifting through mountains of discarded smartphones and circuit boards in recycling facilities across Asia, Africa, and South America. Because inside every smartphone, inside every laptop, every hard drive, every graphics card, there are trace amounts of real gold. Gold used in circuit connections because it does not corrode and conducts electricity with near-perfect efficiency. E-waste recyclers are extracting that gold using chemical processes that Jabir ibn Hayyan would have recognized: acid baths, precipitation reactions, careful separation of metals from compounds. The same obsession. Newer tools. Global e-waste now contains more gold per ton than most gold ore. According to the United Nations, the world generates over 50 million metric tons of e-waste every year. The gold recoverable from that waste is worth billions. Entire industries have formed around the chase. The alchemist in his smoke-filled room never found the philosopher's stone. But the questions he asked, the tools he built, and the records he kept, those did not vanish. They were inherited, refined, turned into something real. You are living in the world that obsession built. The philosopher's stone never existed. But the real magic was turning superstition into science.